for the headline news. And when you hear it again, it is time for us to review some of those stories we brought to you at 7 o'clock. Good morning to you. You're listening to Flow FM 92.7, your Go with the Flow radio station. It's Monday, the 27th of January 2025. I am Adeyemi.
And I'm Danielle Shitta-Bey. Thank you for joining us today.
Welcome to the Headline News Review. Our guest this morning is Nicholas Nwarunoye. Good morning to you, Nicholas.
Good morning.
How was the weekend?
Well, fun.
We had such a good run last week, and we're starting off this week again.
And hopefully
And this week ends the month of January.
It does, by Friday.
By Friday, it's going to be
January.
Already?
Yeah.
Already? Wow.
And you all smiles today.
Yeah, it's like a blistering run. It's been like a blistering run. I'm looking forward to a more, hectic, exciting week.
Okay.
Let's get right into the conversation this morning. But please note that the views to be expressed on the program is not in any way the position of Flow FM 92.7, but solely as expressed by the analyst Nicholas Nwarunoye, or as we get some reactions from the people. Thank you so very much. Let's keep it very, very clean and sane, and let's talk to the heart of the conversation while we proffer solutions, some of them, the challenges we're faced with as a country, so we can move forward.
And also, we're streaming live on Facebook at Flow FM NG and on YouTube at Flow FM 927. You can get on any of these apps and get in on the live action happening in the studio right now. Let's get into this conversation. We have the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Yusuf Tuggar, saying that President Tinubu is not traveling enough and he needs more trips because of its inherent benefits.
We have said it on this platform before that there is absolutely nothing wrong with traveling. But we have to weigh the benefits vis-a-vis the cost of traveling. And within that story, issues were raised too as to how much it costs Nigeria to do those travels and whether we can afford it. Because that is the question we need to ask him. Now, most of, what is helping the economy is this rev up in taxation, tariffs, and the rest of them. So do we have to go through that, to sustain the president's penchant for traveling? We are talking of going to 2 years into his administration and it's still on. And I think there is a statistics as to out of 35 countries, he's traveled over 35 times or thereabout, to 19 countries thereabout. You see?
His most recent one was for a 2 weeks vacation.
2 weeks vacation.
Yeah.
So, he's talking about, he traveled abroad about 2.something billion. There has been talks about that same thing you were talking about. So it's just dotting of I and crossing of T's. You understand? But I think that what the economy needs right now is somebody that is going to sit down and really fix its problem. Our problem is essentially domestic. It is not a foreign policy kind of thing. It's not like the U.S. where the foreign policy decides who is the governor, decides the economy at large. So I don't agree with him on that. I think, some people just get into power and decide what is their priority and not the priority of the country and the common people. Now, you have been elected, so to say, to serve. So that is my initial take on that.
Well, if the president wasn't president, he could travel the world.
He could travel as much as he likes.
He could travel as much as he likes. So that's why I beg to differ when you say, I know it's not directed at him, but if he wants to take those trips, probably it's not going to be for leisure. There must be certain benefit. Just like the minister is trying to point out. And again, you did say, that our problem is domestic and we must, find solutions to it locally, and it's not an international or foreign policy thing. But again, if we're going to look at it from the angle of, investment, foreign investment, business development, all of these things, he still probably needs to travel. Or don't you think?
No, please, it doesn't work that way.
All right.
You see, it's just like I'm looking for a place to spend my money. I'm willing to invest in certain places. I will look out for where it's open, where you can make returns. What you need to ask yourself is the way Nigeria is, the kind of things, the way we run. You don't have the kind of laws we have that does not have bite, and the rest of them, insecurity, and the rest of them. Those are the things. They are intangible assets that attract investment. So the moment you don't fix it, no matter what you say, they will just come and take a look. The figures are there. They make their decisions. So that's all I'm saying, really.
All right. And you mentioned something about tax just earlier, and then this is also something that has to do with tax. Chief Doko Olumofi, he's saying that Nigerians in diaspora who are returning home should be taxed $500.
You see, that's the point.
And that, okay?
You see, that's what I'm saying. Now, you see, you're going, if you're bringing in investment, there should be commensurate benefits for the average Nigerian. You are taking you're exporting the the obligation abroad too. So where is it even done where you tax people to come back to their homes? Does it make sense? It doesn't make sense. In fact, you see, those are some of the things that the president needs to really watch out for, because those were some of the impression people had about him, before he came into power, that he's all about taxation. His governance mode in Lagos, was a very good example. I lived in Lagos then. It was all about tax and, all manners of tariffs that you can levy on people to show up the internal revenue of the state. And you're exporting that same formula at the national level, where you have abject poverty, and you are taking $500 from anybody that comes in for dirty December and things like that. These are the same people that are responsible for sustaining people back home. Because you need to look at the remittances you are talking about. This foreign remittances that comes back home, that is the highest means of mainstay for some economy. Go to Edo, for instance. The property industry there is solely sustained by remittances from people abroad. You understand? So you want to place additional burden on these people that are already remitting money into the economy? Haba. I think sometimes we should be very circumspect about the kind of things we just propose to federal government. Honestly,
I think that statement was made because a report said that Lagos hotels raked in a staggering 54 billion naira just in December 2024.
So they want to. They want to have a slice of that pie, right? And not work for what Yes, I know that remittances from from people, diasporians is huge. If you recall, each time you have a Premier League break, go and look at any state that has a player in the Premier League or any of this lucrative league. Go and see what happens in Lagos property market. Go and see what happens in the Eastern property market. You see a humongous money being plowed in. You understand? So that in itself, what government should do is, that's why I said he should sit back at home, and make the environment conducive for them to come and that was what Obaseki did in Edo State. He cleaned up he removed all these touts, land grabbing touts and the rest of them, so that people who want to make remittances and buy properties can do so. So that is what the government is supposed to do, and not to put additional burden on people.
All right, let's move away to another one. Oil marketers have revealed that the landing cost of premium motor spirit, which is done at petrol as of Friday, is 922 naira 65 kobo per liter, and this they say carries a whole lot in shipping, import duties, and exchange rates. Apparently, what does that translate into?
That is more money for pump price. That is what it translates to. That is landing costs. So we're not talking of the Dangote. So that is, we are talking of when you import fuel. That is when you bring in your fuel from outside, and that's the landing cost. So what it simply means is that it is going to be more expensive, and we have to look at with this pressure on Dangote to do more of export. You might have the domestic. The domestic fuel supply might definitely come from the export, and that means that the pump price is going to be higher in Nigeria. So because if you look at one of the reasons why Dangote, why the federal government plowed in a lot of resources to support that project, was so that we can exploit the West African sub-region. We can exploit it very well. So, and the moment you have all these glitches and disagreements within the local, within the with the local context, NNPC, Dangote, Wahala, then you want to start another refinery. Then what Dangote's option will be is to see how he can exploit, the local, the West African coastline in the first instance, then down South Africa that has opened up, so because that one is more seamless. You don't have much of a disagreements there, because it's just about market forces, and that is that. you know.
All right, away from that, let's go to Lagos this time. And this time, we're looking at the Lagos State House of Assembly. Well, there's been a whole lot since the removal of the speaker, then Speaker Obasa, and it says he's come out to say that his removal is very unconstitutional. So, and security is tightened up today as plenary resumes today. Is it that we are going to have a situation like we saw in River State? If you
It's
remember,
not going to happen.
It's not going to happen.
No, it's not going to happen. Yeah, what the police are simply doing is just to take precautions. You understand? And of course, Obasa has the right to, say, complain, And he said it is unconstitutional the way they removed him. He's not saying that, and he said he believes he's still the speaker. He's within his right to believe whatever. You understand? But in terms of actually, coming there to create an uproar is not going to happen. It's not going to happen in Lagos. You understand? The same system that brought him took him out. So that is just it. And it goes to show that at the end of the day, like we said, the state assembly is still a rubber stamp. It's at the behest of the governor. When the governor decides to move against you, there is absolutely nothing you can do, except there is a bigger interest at play. So what is, the long and short-term interest of the political players in Lagos is to see stability in that house. And that stability has absolutely nothing to do with Obasa coming back to power.
I mean, he's also saying that it's not a sin to nurse the ambition to become the governor of Lagos in 2027. He said that at a press briefing in his residence.
Well, yeah, it's one of the reasons why
it's a political sin, So you see, I know it's not the kind of sin you talk about in church and mosque, but as far as politics is concerned, a la Nigeria, especially in Lagos, where you have a Bodilian clique that decides who becomes a governor. You understand? It is a political sin to know such ambition when you haven't sought clearance from all those quarters. It's as simple as that. And he, of all people, should know better.
So are you saying that he made a political mistake now, or is that ambition is jeopardize his chances again?
Talking politics, yes. It's a political blunder, and he was too overt about his ambition. And if you recall, you see, no matter how you think, how well connected you might be to a perceived power structure, you understand, the governor of a state is still the governor. And there had been there has been a run of battles between himself and Sanwo-Olu, even up to the point that a lot of people felt that he was undermining the governor. You see, what you must understand is that, sometimes, there is this knee-jerk thing about security apparatchik and political structure when you tend to upset the numero uno of a state, of a power, of a power space. You understand? You upset a lot of things. It becomes a case of national security. So the moment that you become, an obstacle, is like you have two governors in the state. Something has to be done about it. That is how we are here. That is the kind of power, configuration we have in Nigeria. So I think Obasa should have known better. The mere fact that he's been for a very long time, I think he's about the longest serving. Yes. Yeah, the longest serving. He should have understand. You should have understood that there is no immunity around that office. You understand? So you serve at the behest of the governor, and the moment he gets the majority, they kick you out. It's as simple as that.
So what lesson do you think can be picked out of this Obasa's scenario and saga?
No, I'm not going to talk about lesson, because you see, if I say lessons that should be learned, it means that I wholly sanction a situation where you can just summarily remove the speaker of a house because the governor is displeased with him. No. You see, more or less, I'm just saying that this is what it is like. Are we comfortable with a situation where, you have a speaker, and a state assembly that is more like a rubber stamp? You understand? Are we comfortable with that? Are we comfortable with a situation where, because the speaker has this, because he has spent so he legitimately, he can be ambitious, he can want to, because he has all the experience, he wants to be a governor. So should we now see it in a situation where we have a practice where you see such a thing as capital, that is a capital crime, political crime? Is that tenable when we talk of democracy? Those are the lessons. I would rather focus on that, because I'm more of, if we are going to practice democracy, let us practice it the way others are practicing it. There is no sin in somebody not seeing an ambition. You understand? But you see, this is our reality, and it's a reality that I don't like. You understand? I don't like it. Because a man who has put in so many years of being a speaker, he's managed the state, managed the lawmaking process for that long years, is eminently qualified to be the governor of a state. So the moment he start nursing that ambition and start making moves, you see it as a capital sin, and you can just kick him out and start making all manners of allegations against him. And now for the first time, he's talking about those allegations. He's saying that, look, they said I constructed a gate for, is it how many? 1 billion naira. It doesn't even make sense. You see, that's why most times when they make all these frivolous allegations from that political front, I don't take it serious unless I see documents, unless I see, processes. That is the point. That's the point. Yeah.
All right, let's talk about the financial autonomy. We've been talking about it for local government, and the National Union of Local Government Employees, they are accusing saboteurs in President Tinubu's government of using delay tactics, to frustrate the implementation of the Supreme Court ruling that says that they should open accounts with central banks so that their allocations can be received directly.
You see, when you start accusing people around the presidency, it's like hedging around an issue. You understand? They are trying to give the president a leeway. You see, what they are invariably saying is that the president is weak. You understand? He took that matter to the court, that this is what the law says, and the Supreme Court has given him everything. So I wonder why there is even any delay, where there should be anybody around that. I don't even see that is purely speculative. The issue is that, if you recall, the scenario we had in Edo State, with the number one law officer, the Minister of Justice, Attorney General of the Federation, Lateef Fagbemi, calling out the governor. That is the way to go. You understand? That is the way to go. You have to make the governors understand that there is a law. You see, our politicians tend to have this problem of not wanting to align with the common people. They haven't seen the power that comes with aligning with the common people, aligning with the rule of law. And there has been ample examples in the past. The case of Ngigi, for instance, his election was flawed. But the moment they tried to, abduct him, look at the uproar in Anambra State. And then when he came back, they reinstated him. He decided to work for the people, and that was his mainstay. You understand? We have never seen a replica of that kind of, courage. Even though at the end of the day, he was kicked out because his election was flawed. You understand? So you see, the thing is that, yes, Algon are absolutely correct. The problem has always been the governors. It's as simple as that. The governors don't want that scenario, and they are using every trick in the book. They've been making a lot of what might appear to be a legitimate argument that there are other parastatals, other issues that are tied to that joint account, like the case of the suburb, the different suburbs, the suburb you have in the state, that is a state universal basic education. The argument from suburb, for instance, is that implementing such Supreme Court justice is going to hamper the operation of suburb in school. That is an angle they are profiling. You understand? I need to see a counter angle, but I think that thing is surmountable. It is surmountable if the local government and the suburb officers in each state can sit down and work out modalities of how they can meet up and do counterpart funding. You understand? But the thing is that there must be a willingness to obey that Supreme Court law first, and I'm not seeing that willingness on the part of the state government.
Now that you say that, the Supreme Court has given that verdict, and because it was raised by the president to the Supreme Court. Again, now that it does look like, this is not being followed. How much of intervention can the president, do at this time? What can he do next?
Well, so much. I think, for instance, that number one, the federal government can strengthen the local government in terms of demanding, since the thing is, once we pay you this money, you understand, put EFCC, put DSS in the, in the spending of that money. The moment it's financial thing, it's financial transaction. The moment you see any external hands outside the federal government in the withdrawal of such money pounce on those local government officers, take them to EFCC. It's as simple as that. When you make 3 examples, Nigerians are very good at learning at things like that. When you take 3, 4, 5, put them before you know what's happening, speedy trial and the rest of them. Let's see how the governor. Let's see whether the governor has the power to come and rescue them. Then, you understand? So you see, that is my take. That is what I think they should do. That's what federal government should do. But of course, everything is down to politics again. You understand? So with the issue, the politics of second term and the rest of them, the president might want to tread carefully and all that. But it's neither here nor there. And we are just making a fool of ourselves, before the world.
All right, let's away from away from that. Let's discuss another story, and this time it has to be the main opposition party in the country, and that's the People's Democratic Party. The National Executive Council meeting is scheduled for February next month. And then with all of the lingering crises within the party, is there doubt, or are there doubts that it's going to be coming together and then scattering it all over again?
Well, you see, like I have been saying, there's something about PDP. Sometimes they come to the brink of utter disintegration, and before you know what's up, they just pull themselves back one way or the other. This is like another version of Nigeria. You understand? Always dancing on the brink. You understand? Then you see them dance their way back to stability. You understand? There could be that possibility that they might pull themselves out of the brink. And if you look at what has been playing out, you see the real factor, the factor that is bringing about that dissension and disagreement is Wike. And Wike is weakening. They are weakening his political hold. You understand? If you look at what happened in Rivers State, look at the court affirmation that the faction that belonged to Fubara is in charge. You understand? Then, of course, the attempt to get Wike's lawyer to take over the case at the federal level has been strongly rebuffed. That he's bringing in his lawyer when you have the legal advisor of the party. You understand? So these are things that they are not ordinary. And if you recall, major stakeholders went to Fubara to reaffirm that he's the leader of PDP in the state. So there is a gradual weakening of Wike himself. You understand? And I'm sure the president is saying all these things. And I'm sure he's happy. Because you cannot have a Wike and go to sleep. You have to have means of controlling that kind of a person. You understand?
Do you think this is going to the waters? The Honorable Minister Srimini was thinking this time with all of the factions within the PDP and all. Do you actually believe that he's been weakened?
No, you see, the major factor is Wike. The moment you take out that Wike factor, every other thing is
resolved.
Is resolved, as far as I'm concerned. Because come to think of it, who has the financial muscle to do the kind of things that Wike is doing? None. Is it Makinde? Makinde seems to be a more calculated politician. He understands the terrain very, very well. Even though he has sympathy for the president, but he's not doing this. His antipath thing is not brazen like Wike is doing his. You understand? Then you talk of so many other people that are in PDP, the G5. You see them very quiet. These are people that you can talk to. These are people that are reasonable. But Wike, with his grandstanding media interviews and the rest of them, creating all manners of schism both at the local, national, even at the tribal level. You understand? You don't, a sound politician doesn't move close to that kind of a person. You don't do that. And there are so many court cases that is around him. So, if I were the president, I'm going to be very, very careful in dealing with that kind of a person. No.
I was just going to ask you, how careful should the president and the APC
be?
Very
careful.
With
very,
the
very
because
exactly. See, that's another angle you have brought in. You see, people in APC are watching too. You see, we are talking of power hawks. You understand? You see, the moment it appears as if somebody that is not even a member of their party appears to be having a kind of hold on the president, you think they are going to like it? They won't like it. They are going to walk across. In fact, as a matter of fact, I strongly believe there are strong APC stalwarts supporting Fubara to cut him down to side because they know Fubara's ambition is mild, is just minimal, just retained. That's all. But Wike is eyeing the presidency at some point. And people know that they can't have that kind of a person contesting or jostling with them.
Alrighty, and that's the size for this one. But before we go, I think we should just quickly take one more story.
Yeah, coming back home here to Kwara State, there's been an unusual flooding that destroyed rice farms worth millions of naira in
Shonga.
Edu local government area, and then His Excellency the Governor has inaugurated a high-level committee to investigate this flooding that has submerged.
I'm kind of for me, I'm kind of shocked too, because the weather report there was nothing like
no
rainfall.
rain. It's
Well,
been sun.
what could be responsible is this is just a conjecture. Is not I'm not saying this is what happened, but the president the governor has ordered for a probe. It lies along the Niger plain, and you have the Kanji Dam. Dams have faucets where you turn on and turn off water. Maybe there was, for some reason, they turned on the faucets were opened, and it allowed a lot of water to go. So when you have that kind of a thing, flooding tends to happen. You understand? Because I haven't heard of any rain or anything, and there hasn't been any kind of from lake inuse or things like. Because sometimes when you have that over flooding, when the lake inuse, when you have that massive water reserve, you tend to so as to save that Langdo Dam, you let go of some water, so the water kind of tappers down the Nile, Benue, down south. You understand? So that's why you have all these bridges, all these dams along that route. So it's a way of just managing the flow of water, because if you open it in one fell swoop, it could overwhelm the entire, a lot of communities down south.
All right. Just for preventive sakes, what do you think can be done? Because that destruction is really, really devastating. I've been to the farm before, and you can see the huge
hard work gone.
You can see the expanse of land that plantation is on. What could they have done to have prevented this from happening?
Yeah, well, I don't want to preempt the investigation, but I think that by and large, are going to discover that the cause is what we have been saying: poor management of information, poor management of water resources, poor management of irrigational farming in Nigeria. You understand? We don't seem to have an understanding of where to do the farming and where not to do it, and where you need to give information that this is going to happen at also point in time. Those things are not given. Those things are not given. That might just be the explanation for it.
All right.
You understand?
Nicholas, thank you very much. Before we go this morning, let's quickly take this contribution. Good morning, presenters and the guests. I like the fact that your guest has mentioned that the problems are domestic and we are the problems ourselves. All these foreign trips can't solve the situation. It's another hands of expenses on the country. Joseph from Malete. Thank you, Joseph. And that's how we conclude the headline review this morning. Thank you, Nicholas, for coming on. Of course, we're starting on a very good note, and we're looking forward to the rest of the week. Have a good week, Nicholas.
Thank you very much.
I'm Danielle Shitta-Bey. Thank you for sharing from your wealth of knowledge with us again today. I'll be back tomorrow, as usual.
Here to light up the sea.